I'm the Gray Strega, and I'm here to give you your daily collective read for today, Wednesday, September 13th, 2023. What do we have coming through in the cards for today? May I please have the first 5 cards in our 5-card spread? First card we are starting our day off with today is the Magician. This is a beautiful card for us to be starting our day off with today, because what this is really talking about is utilizing the tools at hand to effectively manifest the things that you are trying to manifest in this moment. One of the most important aspects of the Magician is the Magician does not wait for circumstances or situations to be ideal for them to work their magic. The Magician utilizes the circumstances and situations that they find themselves to be able to affect the change necessary or the manifestations that they're trying to work on. We love to see this energy starting us out today, because this is showing a sense of empowerment that is going to help you manifest the things that you're desiring at this point. This is coming through right now for all of the energy at play. But let's see if we can get some clarification on this card right now. Second card that we are starting our day off with today in our 5-card spread is, we've got here the 5 of Wands. Now, what is the Magician putting their sense of empowerment into? Difficult circumstances and situations. As I just mentioned, the Magician does not wait for the perfect situation or time to be able to create the things that they are trying to create. Rather, they utilize the circumstances and situations that they find themselves in right now to be able to affect the change that is necessary. We are seeing here that there is a sense of renewed empowerment right now. But what's important to recognize right now is not the fact that everything is effectively feeling perfect. There could be a sense right now of some overriding conflict that is at play. This is either going to be manifesting as an internal conflict, something that you are working through within yourself at this moment, or it could be feeling like there's a tangible expression of conflict right now that you are trying to work your own magic on to a certain extent. This is allowing, though, and I have to stress this is a point of productivity. It's not necessarily trying to incite or create a sense of conflict, but navigating a sense of conflict with a determination point. Focusing right now, it's going to be very important, because while we see this type of energy here, what is very important and significant to identify is the fact that you don't necessarily want to contribute to the conflict, but rather you want to be able to bring into alignment what you are trying to manifest in the wake of some circumstances or situations today that may feel rather trying. Now, let's see if we can get the center card for our 5-card spread for today. Center card for our spread is, we have here the Ace of Cups in its upright. These are beautiful cards to be starting our day off with today, even in the face of some challenging situations or circumstances, because what is going to help you effectively navigate some of these circumstances and situations that you are experiencing today? You are working right now to manifest a sense of productivity. What we love to see about these cards at play right now is a moment on orientation of identifying and understanding that while you may be experiencing right now some sense of internal or external conflict, what we love about this energy right now is there is a level and degree of productivity that is effectively happening in this moment. Keeping one's own focus in terms of one's spiritual and emotional health at this time. Moving into, I need to point this out, almost navigating a sense of conflict between these two zones, a sense of what is best for you on the emotional and spiritual space, recognizing that being able to manifest this for yourself right now is also going to allow you to manifest it for all energy around you at this time, while also putting in that sense of determination, allowing oneself to effectively bring a sense of peace, of order, of restoration into circumstances and situations that may be feeling like they are challenging spaces right now or points of conflict is going to be the watchwords for today. We love to see this energy both for masculine and feminine energy in or out of partnership at this moment, because this is showing that there is a lot of care and consideration coming into play right now in trying to move in the space of healing. For the masculine and feminine energy right now that are working in partnership or union, this is potentially giving one another support as you do so right now, having to navigate some difficult situations. We even identified yesterday that for some of the masculine and feminine energy that's in partnership or union right now, we have been identifying the fact that this may even have to do with some external interpersonal issues. This could be difficulties with some friends, families, or even helping those families navigate or friends navigate these situations or circumstances that may be feeling trying right now. For the energies, though, that are not in partnership, this could be trying to bring some level or degree of healing or peace to situations or circumstances where you are feeling some of this opposition oppositional energy taking place. What is this oppositional energy that we are effectively seeing right now in the unpartnered energy? Well, specifically, we're seeing here that this is that differentiation point between where the masculine is finding themselves at this moment versus the feminine. Because as we have identified in the daily collective read yesterday, feminine is moving from a space of supreme caution. It is not necessarily the fact that they aren't necessarily feeling feelings right now, but they're also doing a lot of work right now to protect their heart space, even as they are experiencing that. This is requiring a moment for feminine that is slowing them down, because it's requiring a level or degree of objectivity in terms of really assessing how they're feeling and whether it is almost safe for them to feel that with some of the masculine energy that is approaching them at this time. Masculine, for our part, we've been identifying, has been going through a moment where they are potentially recognizing this right now with the feminine. However, this level or degree of patience that is being required right now between the masculine and the feminine energy is trying to the masculine energy for the sake that to a point it is effectively making the masculine energy feel like they can't navigate forward because the feminine energy isn't giving them access to that point of emotional vulnerability. This is some of that challenging energy that we're identifying right now between the two energies. But what we appreciate right now is there's moments of restoration coming through. This is either going to be feeling like giving each other support in partnership right now, or concentrating right now to a level and degree on what feels like it is best for the self versus what you can effectively navigate and change in the difficult circumstances and situations around you. So very productive energy right now coming into play from a point of healing. Now, let's see if we can get the fourth card in our 5-card spread for today. Fourth card for today is, we have here, we love this. We've got here our 9 of Cups. So this is a moment of a basically coming forward, being able to put all your cards on the table to a certain degree. One of the things that we really appreciate about this right now is this is a moment that is allowing almost a point of healing, because it is allowing the energy even in the state or even in the place of conflict at this moment. This isn't a moment that we see that anything is effectively backing down, but it's more about this moment of having a feeling or degree of full transparency at this time, recognizing and identifying this need or desire to bring full transparency to circumstances and situations. We are seeing this right now, both in and out of partnership at this moment. Now, for the masculine and feminine energy that is working right now in partnership, this is potentially what you are providing to one another to help you navigate some of these difficult circumstances or situations. There is a moment right now of being able to effectively give each other one's opinions in terms of what you are seeing, what you are experiencing, so that you can come to a productive conclusion that is going to feel like it is the best path forward through some difficulties or challenges. Now, we will point out that this may feel like a little bit of a difficult space right now, particularly as it relates to the masculine and feminine energy right now, even if you are in partnership, because what did we effectively identify was the difficulty between the masculine and the feminine energy yesterday that was navigating this space in partnership at this moment. There was a bit of a difference of opinions in terms of how to proceed forward. We saw that while feminine was trying to take more of an internal going, being able to effectively just kind of allow themselves to process what is happening, masculine energy is trying to move forward with actual determining actions right now. And this, what we're really identifying, could be a moment and degree where the masculine and feminine energy are coming into alignment in terms of what that productive movement forward will be. But they're utilizing right now a moment of allowing a lot of conversation, allowing a lot of transparency, all for the sake of trying to move forward in the best possible way through some challenging situations. Now, for the masculine and feminine energy right now that is not in partnership, this could be a moment of a lot of opening up, right? And this is what we really like to see right now, specifically between the feminine energy that has basically been holding back on their own heart space to a certain degree, and also for the masculine energy. The masculine energy is effectively utilizing and understanding potentially today that one of the things that they can effectively do right now to help the feminine energy come into a state of easement is to be in a place of full transparency, potentially offering that level of degree of full transparency at this time in order to kind of get it back in kind. Because masculine is almost effectively effectively seeing to a certain degree that this may help some of the internal conflict that the feminine energy is currently experiencing as it relates to some circumstances or situations. Feminine, for their part, and this is what we love to see today for even the unpartnered energies, is also navigating right now from this exact vibration. They are also in a space of recognizing some of the situations and challenges at this time, and they are appropriately moving through them by putting a sense of self-restoration in right now, by opening up confidently about what they are experiencing, how they are experiencing it, where they effectively are spiritually and emotionally at this time. This is allowing a level or degree of productivity in all energies, in or out of partnership at this moment. Now, fifth card today in our 5-card spread is... we have here our 2 of Pentacles in its reversal. And this is what we love to see, because this is moving into better alignment right now. As we said, there could be something here that feels like it is somewhat oppositional, like you're effectively trying to balance between 2 separate degrees right now. For the masculine and the feminine energy that is in partnership at this moment, this has to do with some of that differentiation of opinion to a certain extent that we identified was coming through yesterday. Because as we really identified yesterday, it was the fact that masculine and feminine both had an approach to trying to potentially solve a circumstance or situation. They were on very oppositional ends of that spectrum yesterday. This is giving confirmation of some of that alignment, finding a way to blend the 2 different decisions into a single whole. It may even require a level of degree of compromise today, but we like this because this is moving into some of that productive space that we are identifying. There's a moment or degree right now of allowing some level of full transparency. This potentially could even be feeling like it is the solution that has come up through the problem. Being able to move in this way feels like it is potentially best for all of the energies involved, even in the sense of some of this conflict. And it is allowing a level or degree of productivity. So for the partnered energies right now, we are seeing that this is a lot of positive progress forward, especially if you are experiencing any sense of uncertainty in terms of how to navigate some situations or circumstances that you're currently experiencing. While for the masculine and the feminine energy right now that is in partnership, this could feel a little bit different. Because what we are effectively seeing right now is there's a moment or level right now of something coming into a point of priority. For masculine and feminine energy right now, not in partnership, both energies are employing this same standard. Because for feminine right now, we are seeing that this is that moment that feminine has been weighing their own emotional objectivity right now, looking at their heart space, potentially not opening it up, but really assessing and understanding how they are feeling right now so that they can determine the best way to move forward. For feminine right now, there's potentially even a feeling right now of making a choice, choosing a course of action, potentially even allowing one priority to rise up over the others at this time that is helping them as they move forward through some states or places of conflict. This could also be working right now with a lot of integration at this point, having the masculine energy basically understand and identify where the feminine energy is allowing the feminine energy to really articulate upon this choice at this time. While for masculine energy right now, this is a moment that you are effectively allowing this degree of prioritization to come into play. Masculine energy is being very open and honest at this time, potentially even towards circumstances and situations that are requiring or creating some sense of difficulty or challenge, particularly around the feminine energy. This is some of that sense of trepidation or conflict that we've been seeing that the masculine has been feeling about the feminine energy, effectively making them wait or making them hold on to a certain degree. Masculine energy is coming full forward today to be able to effectively be very open in terms of where they effectively are. We love seeing this right now for both masculine and feminine energy in and out of partnership, because it's allowing for some real productive path forward at this time, an identification and clarity in terms of where you effectively are so that you can determine the best path to go as you proceed forward from this point. Now, let's see if we can get some clarity on these cards right now that we are seeing. Clarification coming through right now between our Magician card in combination with our 5 of Wands energy. We are seeing that today is going to have some hurdles, some difficulties, some challenges, some feelings of conflict, either internally or externally at this time. But what we really appreciate right now is the fact that this is allowing for a point of self-determination. It is allowing a point of manifestation. It is trying to bring some level of peace into circumstances and situations. This is either going to be that internal peace that you're creating for yourself at this moment that is fortifying your own course of action at this time, or this is bringing it into some tangible level of external conflict that you may be feeling is happening around you in this moment. May I please have one card to clarify? Clarification coming through right now. This card was just in its upright yesterday. The Lovers in its reversal. As we identified yesterday that there was a lot of care and consideration that was being paid into identifying whether the connections that are around you at this time are leading to higher divine connection, being able to bring together the sum of its parts for a greater whole, or if they are feeling like unhealed karmic connections. Masculine and feminine energy are implementing this at this time to allow for spaces and places of productivity. One of the things that's effectively happening right now is this moment or degree of recognizing and trying to identify some of this misalignment. This is further work in this space right now, because what we're really seeing is some of this conflict is having some issues in the partnerships. Now, for the energies that are in union at this time, this is potentially really putting a lot of care and consideration into these partnership circumstances or situations. As we said, there may have been some differentiations of opinion right now as it relates to the path forward. Feminine showing some level of degree of hesitancy, masculine wanting to take more of an aggressive or assertive approach. This is that moment that there's some kind of productive conflict here. And it may feel like it does impact the partnership to some degree, because there is some sense of misalignment here that needs to be corrected. But what we appreciate is the fact that both energies are doing what they can, even in partnership at this moment, to effectively understand what can be manageably handled versus situations or circumstances that they're not necessarily seeing that productivity coming into play. This is happening right now within the partnership to heal any sense of internal conflict within the partnership, and also externally, being able to identify and navigate that as well. Now, for the masculine and the feminine energy right now that is not in partnership at this moment, this is that level of degree that we are seeing that you are navigating right now to identify and understand whether you feel like there are partnerships that you may have been holding on to, past attachments, unhealed karmic energy that may need to effectively be released at this time. For masculine and feminine energy right now, this is that moment of seeing how you can navigate some of these hurdles, how you can navigate some of these difficulties in where you find yourself at this moment, to really identify if you feel that there is a possibility of a higher connected alignment coming into play here. And a lot of it is coming through some of these difficult circumstances or situations. So while there may be challenging moments today, we are also seeing that there are very informative ones that are allowing a level of degree of productivity. Continuing to get clarification on these cards right now between the Five of Wands in combination with our Ace of Cups energy, looking right now at spaces or places where you're feeling some level or degree of difficulty, but putting a lot of care and concentration into what feels most restorative and generative for the self at this moment, with the recognition that by putting this level of degree of care into the self right now, it's effectively going to help you navigate these circumstances or situations. Now, clarification between, and this could even be a moment right now of trying to bring a point into clarity in terms of whether some conflicts or difficulties are serving your highest good or serving your highest self right now, because we see here that some of these conflicts are challenging some of this energy. May I please have one card to clarify? Clarification coming through right now with our Five of Cups energy. This is really manifesting right now as some sense of regret, some sense of difficulty, some hurdle that needs to be faced, but allowing for a productive path forward. There could even be some feelings of regret that are coming into play today, maybe even some articulation on regret as it relates to where you may find yourself in these points of conflict at this time. One of the things that's going to be very important to navigate right now is not letting yourself get caught in any space or place of grief, but really being able to utilize that to self-empower, bring back that sense of degree of level of care for the self right now. Because what we really want to see right now is allowing some of that grief or some of that sadness to move into a space of healing. This is requiring potentially some moments right now, even in points of difficulty or conflict, having to articulate upon some level of regret that you may be experiencing as you are experiencing these moments. For masculine and feminine energy, there could be a lot of restorational work that is coming into play today, because while we definitely see here that there is something here about energy doing what they feel is best for the self at this moment, there's also a level of degree of feeling like they're doing what's best for those around them. And this is almost allowing for some articulation right now of sadness or regret around some of these circumstances or situations that may have led to this point of conflict. So we like to see this energy today, because while it may be feeling, again, a lot more of that bittersweet energy that we've been seeing over the last few days, we do see that it is leading to a level of degree of healing. Continuing to get clarification on these cards right now between our Ace of Cups energy in combination with our Nine of Cups. So moving right now from a place of full transparency, allowing that openness to effectively be a point of healing for all energies, regardless of whether you are in partnership at this time. This is effectively a moment of having a point of putting your cards on the table, but doing that for the level of degree of care of the self, and also for the care of those around you at this time. There's a level or degree of openness that is happening right now in conflict that is feeling to a level or degree very, very productive and positive. This is the energy that we see that is coming into these circumstances and situations right now. Now, for the masculine and feminine energy that is in partnership at this moment, this is potentially something that you are providing to yourself at this time. You may be even feeling that you're opening up to a higher degree in these partnerships right now to help navigate some of these hurdles and difficulties and challenges. While for the masculine and feminine energy that is not in partnership at this moment, there is still this level or this feeling right now of wanting to be completely transparent and open that is creating some sense of restoration at this time. May I please have one card to clarify? Clarification coming through right now with our Four of Cups. Now we love this because what this is allowing for a choice to effectively be made. While someone is able to see the circumstances and situations at play around them, they're able to effectively make the most productive choice. Now, for masculine and feminine energy that are in partnership at this time, this is what you're effectively providing to one another. There may be even a lot of conversations right now, opening up about your feelings, opening up about the circumstances, opening up about what you feel is potentially best for yourself, but also for the partnership as a whole, to be able to determine the best path to move forward at this time. While for the masculine and the feminine energy not in partnership at this moment, we are seeing that same level of a degree of implementation is coming to the surface here. There's a level or degree of transparency that is coming in that is allowing for some kind of effective choice to be considered. You will point out that one of the things that may be happening right now is we saw the fact that masculine energy isn't necessarily sure of where they are with feminine energy at this time. There is that moment that they may be feeling like they are kind of in this state or place of waiting. But what we're really identifying at this moment for the masculine energy is this is a moment of allowing a level of degree of openness and transparency to help also build this same energy in the feminine. Feminine, for their part, is also trying to do this to a certain extent, but that has to do with their own heart space, because we see here that the feminine energy does potentially, to a certain level or degree, feel like they are being open, but this may be a moment of even coming forward in a bigger way in terms of being open, because what we're seeing here is this is potentially that heart space blockage that is effectively getting potentially cleared up today, and it's coming from a state of transparency. For feminine, that could even be articulating some of the space or place that they found themselves yesterday to the masculine, and masculine, for their part, is giving this back to feminine even outside of partnership at this moment, which we deeply appreciate. Continuing to get clarification on these cards right now between our Nine of Cups in combination with our Two of Pentacles in its reversal. What we love about this is this sense of openness, this sense of putting cards on the table is allowing for a more productive path coming forward, because we are seeing here that there is some kind of choice that is coming through. There may even need to be a managing right now of priorities, some feelings of overwhelm that are being navigated at this time. But what we appreciate is this isn't leading to a point of moving backwards. It's allowing for a point of productivity, choosing the priorities that are going to help you come into better alignment. Now, for masculine and feminine energy, this could have a lot to do with some of that choice that was coming into play as it relates to how to navigate some of the circumstances and situations that are around you at this time. Masculine and feminine energy were in oppositional places, even in partnership yesterday, as it relates to how to handle some of these situations and circumstances. This is that moment right now of potentially coming into better alignment in terms of what to do. And it is leading to a degree of conversations or circumstances where everyone is effectively putting their cards on the table. We love to see this energy right now in the partnership. For masculine and feminine energy right now that is not in partnership, this could be feeling like a little bit more of a challenging space, because what is effectively being open or shown to each of the energies right now in kind is requiring a moment of trying to identify the best path to go forward in. For some of you, there could even be feeling right now of a moment of feeling like you need to make a choice. And that is coming though from a space of also being open. This could be some of that internal conflict that may be experienced at this time, because there's a point right now of focusing on what is best for the self to help navigate those internal hurdles by being your most authentic, open sense of self, revealing that and allowing that to be seen to a certain degree, that is helping you really focus your own priorities going forward. Clarification between these two cards right now is, we have here further confirmation of choices being made. This is leading to spaces and places of a course of action being made. But what is important and valuable at this time is there's a point of observation. There's a point of understanding. This is a card of one, not necessarily just rushing forward and making a choice, but utilizing, having taken the time to really understand where you find yourself energetically at this moment. This is something that has been a long time coming to a certain degree, so that you can move forward with that appropriate course of action. For feminine energy, this could be more of that opening of the heart space, some of that work that we identified that was occurring during the Venus in retrograde cycle right now. Feminine energy was recognizing spaces or places where it was hard for them to effectively open up to a certain degree, having carried a lot of the trauma from the past. Feminine energy is utilizing this moment to even assess their own internal conflicts, being very open with themselves, moving from a state of doing this for a restorational work of the self, by allowing them to make some of the choices that they need to navigate going forward, even if they are difficult, but also keeping in mind a focus on self-care. For masculine energy, you are also doing this right now, and you are doing this through being in a point or state of being fully transparent to the feminine at this time. There's also a feeling of being able to have a course of action, make a choice, have some of that plan coming into play. So even for the unpartnered energies today, we are seeing that this is a level and degree of productivity, though it even may be a difficult one. While for masculine and for the feminine and masculine that are in partnership at this moment, what we're really identifying is this is that moment that you are potentially feeling unified in terms of that course of action. There's a point of coming into better alignment, coming into a point of agreement, merging your own decisions and courses of action so that you can figure out that path going forward. So again, difficult circumstances that are leading to productive results and a very determinative course of action today. Continuing to get clarification on these cards right now between our Lover's card in its reversal and our Five of Cups. There is this moment right now, and we identified this in the cards yesterday with the fact that the focus yesterday was specifically around energies that you are identifying or seeing are in a state of union, are in a state of higher alignment, allowing that level of degree of productivity, versus spaces or places that you're not necessarily seeing that alignment coming into focus. For masculine and feminine today, this could be further work in those spaces and places where there are still misalignments, because while there was a lot of observation there, this is that full understanding. And we'll point out that one of the things that was happening yesterday was really looking at the connections around you to identify where they are and what they needed. This could be further looking now, almost moving away from the ones that are in a good place and now trying to really identify the ones that need work. There could even be feeling right now some sense of frustration or loss or regret that is being experienced right now, having understood and recognized that some of these unhealed karmic energies are at this level or at this degree right now. But what we think is important to identify at this time is this is a moment of observing one's own feelings, allowing oneself to feel and experience some of that set of sadness or loss or grief that may be coming around these circumstances in order to affect some point of positive change and productivity. this is happening right now, both in and out of partnership. In partnership right now, this could be looking at a lot of those external situations and even potentially having to navigate how they are impacting the partnership to a certain degree. For masculine and feminine energy that is not in partnership at this moment, this is potentially looking at the difficulties or the hurdles that are separating some of the partnerships at this time. Really assessing the level of degree of pain or difficulty that has come to really identify if there can be a positive path forward at this moment. May I please have one card to clarify? Clarification coming through right now with our Hermit energy. This could be a lot of work today as it relates to going inward, utilizing this sense of self, finding some points right now of solitude, but allowing that sense of solitude to really help guide your own focus at this time. For masculine and feminine energy right now that is even in partnership, there is something here that is almost feeling like it is creating a level of degree of isolation, but getting a lot of insight in that moment, because what we're really experiencing at this time is the observation of one's own internal points of disappointment, setback, grief, but all to build that level of degree of clarity. Now, for the masculine and the feminine energy right now that is in partnership at this moment, this could even require some states right now where you move away from the partnership for a bit of time to try to get some of that clarity. There may even need to be a moment right now of really trying to build a little point of isolation for yourself so that you can really embody and feel some of these things that you're feeling. Because we are identifying right now that these are some real hurdles and challenges, even for the partnered energies. This could even require right now a moment of determination of saying, like, I just need a little time to think this out, or I need a little bit of time to myself to decide what is best to do. But the masculine and feminine energies that are in partnership at this moment potentially are even recognizing this, and they're providing it to the counterpart energy. That is what's allowing for some of this healing to occur. For masculine and feminine energy right now that is not in partnership, there is that moment right now of receiving or identifying a point of clarity as it relates to being in a point of solitude at this moment. Because one of the things that may be occurring today around some of the unhealed partnerships is identifying and articulating, particularly for the energies or the situations or circumstances where these are situations that you have potentially found yourself at this breakage point. You're either in a point of no contact or there hasn't been a lot of clarity. This could potentially even be revealing a lot of the insights that effectively came to you in some point of separation at this time. For masculine and feminine energy that is moving into new partnership at this moment, this could even be a lot of conversation potentially at play right now in talking in new energy about some of the situations and circumstances that you've experienced from the past that have created some of these doubts or fears for you. We've been seeing for the feminine that this is a lot of that trepidation energy coming into play right now that has been pulling their own energy back. But what we appreciate right now is this is not about kind of sitting in that sense of loss or difficulty. This is using it as a navigation point going forward. There may even be a lot of conversations in terms of revealing what you learned in that time of solitude right now that is helping to further increase that sense of healing at this moment. While for others right now, there could be a moment right now that feels even in and out of partnership like it is a bit of an isolation point, but it is an isolation point that is leading to a level or degree of deeper insight. Now, continuing to get clarification on these cards right now between our 5 of Cups in combination with our 4 of Cups energy. So this is a moment, and I need to stress this because this is the positive productivity around some moments right now of disappointment, some setbacks, some feeling of loss, having to feel some feelings of regret and that are causing potentially some feelings of uncertainty at this time, but allowing it to be a point of clarification. It's almost allowing you to consider some option that you haven't considered before. This is that productivity element that we are seeing right now with the Magician energy. You're not letting yourself get caught in that moment of holding on to the grief and where you find yourself at this moment. You are letting it push you forward into new possibilities, new perspectives, new ideas that are going to help move you forward from a sense of healing. May I please have one card to clarify? clarification coming through right now with our Six of Swords. So, what did I say? A productive path forward through some circumstances and situations that are trying, that are difficult. And this is a moment that is, again, going to feel somewhat bittersweet, because what we are really identifying right now is this is not a release of that grief. This is that grief being utilized to allow for a productive course of action, to even allow for a possibility that you haven't considered before. This is allowing for new approaches today. And we see that for all energies at play, you are taking this opportunity to move forward in that way. But it is bittersweet because you're still carrying a lot of the burden and the pain and the difficulty that has effectively led you. It didn't I need to stress this because this is the important point about this. It hasn't led you, it did not force you to move forward in this way. This is a moment of feeling like this is a productive path forward, recognizing the situations and circumstances that have brought you to this conclusion point. This is very important than feeling like this isn't giving a lot of energy right now about feeling like one's back is against the wall. This is about really trying to manifest and create through some difficult circumstances or situations. So again, a point of productivity, though there is some sense of frustration that you're experiencing, or loss, or sadness, even as you do so. Continuing to get clarification on these cards right now between our Four of Cups in combination with our Two of Swords in its reversal. This is a point, and this is why we see some of this need for solitude at this moment, even as it relates in partnership. There could even be some moments right now that someone needs some space or place to really kind of consider the approach of the other, even in partnership at this moment. Because I got to see here, and I need to stress, if you're in partnership today and someone says they need a minute or they need some time, they need to go for a walk, just let them have that walk. Like, just let them have that walk is what we're really seeing, because this isn't a moving away from something. This is something to be able to really allow for some weight in considering the best path going forward right now. For masculine and feminine energy, this is that point that it's almost moving apart to be able to come back together to find something that feels productive going forward at this time. Because we're seeing here that this is a lot of activity today, I have to stress. Because what we're really seeing at this moment is this is new possibilities opening up, looking around at some of the circumstances and situations that you followed yourself at this moment, and then almost immediately feeling like that is the correct course of action. This could even be feeling today like a little bit of a light bulb moment going off. This could be feeling like a little bit of a pinch of inspiration that is hitting as it relates to how to effectively handle a situation that may have been creating some sense of difficulty or conflict at this moment. For masculine and feminine energy and partnership, this could be both of you kind of having these light bulb moments. I got to stress, this isn't determinate right now on masculine or feminine. This could be a lot of ideas that are being dropped in today in the partnership energy with a point of like activity coming through as well. For the masculine and the feminine energy that is not in partnership at this moment, this is going to be a lot more of an isolating experience. Because what we're really identifying at this time, that for the partnership, the unpartnered energies, this is a moment that you are effectively, for the feminine right now, we're seeing more of the past coming into play. This is feminine bearing the weight, their sense of loss, their sense of regret around some situations and circumstances that they're carrying a lot of grief on. We've been seeing the feminine energy doing this for ever since the retrograde ended. We've been seeing this happening ever since the retrograde ended. Feminine energy is taking some time for themselves today to really consider whether they feel that karmic connections right now are in a space of productivity, something positive can come from them, or if they're unhealed. And feminine energy may even be having some new ideas or some new considerations in terms of how to tackle some of these circumstances that they find themselves in right now that's leading to a point of productivity and thus action. For masculine, we are also seeing that this is something that you yourself may also be experiencing right now. New ideas, new approaches that are going to potentially lead to new solutions. There are some difficulties and hurdles here that need to be experienced, but they're being utilized in the best way possible. It's not feeling right now that there's a point of sadness, but that feeling of sadness or regret around the circumstances at play right now are almost generating the new possibilities to come to fruition. May I please have one card to clarify? Clarification coming through right now with our Eight of Pentacles. So this is really a concentration and a focus on something that feels productive going forward. For masculine and feminine energy that is in partnership right now, this is a moment of looking at something and really trying to identify what is going to work. This could even be a lot of bringing in some sense of practicality into play right now to help navigate some of these challenging circumstances or situations. What we're really seeing right now, to a certain extent, for the energy that is in partnership at this moment, is there's also a lot of concentration right now in terms of focusing on what you are trying to create for yourselves at this moment. There even could be a moment or degree right now in discussions in terms of what you can do that is going to feel more productive for the whole. There could even be a feeling right now of getting very practical or pragmatic about some of the solutions that are coming into play. But we're seeing here that there's almost like a unified agreement. What we appreciate right now in terms of some of the energy and partnership at this moment is looking at circumstances or situations that are challenging, coming into new approaches, recognizing that that's a course of action because you feel like there's something here that one way or another is going to generate something that feels productive. For masculine and feminine energy right now that is not in partnership, this could even be a moment of allowing a level or degree of practicality or pragmatism to enter some of the decisions that you're making at this time. For masculine energy, we are really seeing or identifying the fact that you're trying to move forward in some degree. You're really trying to navigate some situations or circumstances that are proving to be some challenging territory. There's some kind of internal or external conflict that you're feeling that you need to navigate at this time. You're trying to do so with a sense of what feels like it is not only best for yourself at this time, but best for those around you by effectively trying to put your cards on the table. For feminine energy, you're hoping that this is actually going to generate or elicit a point of priority being made, something that is going to feel like it is going to be a blending of both of your desires to come across in terms of a course of action. Masculine, this is potentially even a way or shape or form today that you are navigating or considering new approaches to doing this. And you're potentially having some of that light bulb moment because you're recognizing those spaces and places that are going to be productive going forward. For feminine, we are also seeing that you're navigating this same space or place. For the feminine energy that is not in partnership at this moment, this could even be, I need to stress this too. For masculine and feminine energy right now that is going through this, there is this course of action that is coming into play, and it is almost being like immediately put into practice. For other parts of the collective right now, this is potentially even distracting yourself and getting your mind into some of your professional spaces right now as you try to navigate some of these hurdles. There's almost a moment right now that is really looking like productivity is going to be a bit of the watchword today as well, because there's almost a moment right now of really asking in terms of some of these unhealed connections, what is feeling like it is productive versus what is feeling like it is not productive. And it is that return to productivity that we appreciate even in the unhealed connections at this time that is creating some separation point in terms of what feels like it can come back together, where there's an ability to work and collaborate together versus spaces or places that may be feeling unhealed because that sense of collaboration isn't coming into play. Continuing to get clarification on these cards right now between the Hermit in combination with our Six of Swords energy. So this is very important because what we're really seeing at this time is there is this feeling that is requiring a moment of feeling some sense of loss, of regret, of moving forward right now, having to carry some of the burdens that you are experiencing at this time. And it is feeling somewhat isolating. However, what we appreciate is some of that isolation is turning into information in solitude. It is really building a deeper understanding of the circumstances and situations that you find yourself at this moment. But most importantly, being able to receive some level of insight or clarity in those moments of solitude. Even for masculine and feminine energy in partnership at this moment, this could be feeling some of this sense of solitude in the partnership at this time. You may even be requiring this right now to help you navigate some of the things that you're feeling at this moment, because we're seeing that that is some of that bittersweet energy that is occurring right now. For the masculine and the feminine energy that is not in partnership at this moment, this is feeling like a bit more of a challenging or trying space. Okay? Because what we are really identifying and seeing at this time is there is a moment that is pushing you forward right now while still carrying the burden of some of the grief or setbacks that you've experienced at this time. For masculine and feminine energy that are not in partnership at this moment, it is more of this work trying to navigate potentially where something was left and where it is now being found, if this is reconnection energy, that is causing this level or degree of requiring a little bit of internal investigation at this moment. We're seeing this for both masculine and feminine energy. Even in new partnership energy right now, we are still seeing this level or degree of anxiety and uncertainty. Masculine, this is some of that energy that you're bearing. You're having to bear some of these past issues, these past circumstances, but you're doing it with a new sense of clarity. This is either those past situations and circumstances that have led you to be where you are today with some of that unconnected energy that you're now trying to move back in connection with, or even in new partnership right now, masculine, there's an identification point that some of the grief and burden that is being carried from the energy around you right now is also requiring some level or degree of solitude. There's a lot of information that's coming in this solitude. For feminine, this is bearing some of this if you're not in partnership within the self right now. You're finding that productive path forward, and it is requiring these points of solitude to really identify how you're going to navigate and carry that. This is more of the work that we've been identifying that the feminine has been doing up until this point. May I please have one card to clarify? Clarification is coming through right now with the Wheel of Fortune in its reversal. Today is going to feel like there are some blockages. I'm going to just put it out there. It's going to feel like there's a little bit of a record scratch today. It's going to feel like there's something that needs to be navigated to be able to find something that feels productive. And it's going to feel like a bit of a hurdle. There's something right now that's coming into play around some of this conflict energy, be it the internal conflict that you're potentially experiencing at this time, or some external conflicts that are occurring right now that are causing this moment of feeling a bit caught or feeling like you're a bit kind of stuck right now as it relates to something moving in a productive way. This is why we see this level of degree of pragmatism coming back into some of these circumstances or situations, because it's all coming through right now to try to overcome the hurdle or the blockage. There's something here about really feeling like there's a point of understanding where some of these misalignments are occurring, but it's all leading to a space or place of better productivity going forward, okay? This may be a lot of, I gotta stress, today may feel like there's a lot of heavy energy. These are some heavy cards that we're seeing right now. And it may even be pointing, and I need to stress, there may be some feelings right now of coming through that feel like they are somewhat isolating to a certain extent, but it is navigating and finding that point of comfort in that point of solitude, finding that point of insight in that point of solitude that is going to be so important to help you find those points of inspiration and motivation to get you through some of these hurdles. Continuing to get clarification on these cards right now between our Six of Swords in combination with our Eight of Pentacles. Now, we like to see this because this is almost like a return to pragmatism for all energies that are on the table. For masculine and feminine energy right now, there are some feelings of frustration, some loss, some regret, some points of view right now that are feeling like they're carrying the weight that you have to bear today. So this is some heavy energy coming into play. But we're also seeing that one of the solutions that potentially are coming into play right now is effectively working through them. Not letting yourself effectively get caught in that feeling, but really trying to find a place or space, even potentially trying to get your mind off of it by putting your own self right now into spaces and places of practical application. This is a bit of that. Like I said, this is like really what exactly we're seeing that we started our reading with today, that productivity through adversity that we like to see at this point. Masculine and feminine energy, again, there's going to be a lot of potential concentration on what is immediately at hand that you can work to amend right now to help you experience, to help you navigate some of these more internal points of crisis that you may be feeling at this time. For the masculine and the feminine energy in partnership at this moment, this could be feeling like you're bearing the weight or having to deal with some of the frustration. There may even be a moment right now of understanding that you can't effectively change or come into a state of perfect easement as it relates to some of these circumstances that you find yourself in. There's something here that just requires you potentially an understanding that they just need to be navigated, that they just need to be born, that the union partnership is allowing you to bear them together, and you're doing so by focusing on what is productive and practical today. For masculine and feminine energy right now, not in partnership, This could even be a point of distraction from assessing or looking at some of those breakages in partnership at this moment. This is potentially both being in states or places of isolation, both masculine and feminine at this time. It's requiring a little bit of going inward. What effectively could potentially be happening today that I'm seeing is the fact that to some degree or extent, something is being opened up today. Something is kind of being seen in a new perspective for the unattached energies. That is almost requiring both energies to go into a state of solitude, going into a state of internal investigation to identify and understand how they feel about what they're effectively being open and experienced about. This is allowing a level or degree of productivity, because what we're seeing is there's a navigation in that space of solitude to understand what can you move forward from effectively and what feels like there is practical application in terms of what you can fix at this time. So we like this because even in that solitude, we're seeing that practical solutions are coming into play. May I please have one card to clarify? Clarification coming through right now with our Knight of Swords in its reversal. This is a moment right now that may feel a bit challenging for masculine energy because it may feel like it does bring up some level of lack of confidence in this moment. There's some sense of hesitancy that is effectively coming into play. And this may even be a little bit of recorrection energy that may be happening right now from the masculine, because what we identified, right? We identified yesterday that masculine's been trying to push forward very quickly, very, very assertively in a lot of different ways and spaces right now. Even in masculine and feminine energy right now, trying to navigate some circumstances or situations. What we were really identifying to a certain level or degree, the fact that the masculine energy was trying to take a much more assertive approach, as opposed to the feminine's decision in terms of what needed to be navigated or handled at this time. What we're really seeing in this moment is this is masculine energy potentially feeling that like moment of reconsideration in terms of how assertively they may have wanted to handle things. This is some of that energy. And I will point out the difference here is this isn't coming through as a point of compromise. This is potentially even coming through right now in terms of recognizing or bearing the weight that could potentially occur, from masculine taking those approaches right now. Masculine is effectively now looking for more practical spaces. The difficulty or hurdle that's occurring at this time is the fact that it is shaking the masculine's own confidence at this time, because there's something here that we are seeing that the masculine is also feeling some of the weight of the loss or the difficulty that may have led up until this point. This could even, I need to articulate, this could even be a point of understanding that masculine may have even had something to come into play with some of the conflict energy that's around some circumstances and situations at this time, especially if we saw yesterday. And you'll remember, what did I say yesterday? I warned that masculine energy may want to take a little bit more of an assertive approach than the feminine did around some areas or situations. And I warned about the masculine energy not effectively doing that unless you make sure you're in alignment with the feminine energy. This is potentially, if for some of the masculine that did not take, some of the masculine that may not have taken that into full account, you can go back yesterday. I warned you about it. If you're catching this, I warned you about it. This could be a moment that you're now kind of being like, oh, maybe that wasn't the right thing to do. Maybe you were right. Maybe I shouldn't have, that's that moment of realizing that there may have been some circumstances or situations that if the masculine moved too quickly, they created a bit more, the pot got stirred more in a way that didn't want to get stirred. And this is now kind of a moment right now that the masculine is kind of seeing the effects of those actions right now, which may be leading to some of these feelings of, oh dear. There's a bit more of this oh dear energy. So feminine, potentially, if you're in these circumstances or situations today, you may even be having to navigate right now, helping the masculine energy if that occurred yesterday. Now, for the masculine and the feminine energy that is not in partnership at this time, this is a moment that is going to feel a little bit more challenging as it relates to the masculine and the feminine energy. Because what we're really seeing here is there's this point that we're seeing that for masculine, feminine, there is this point of openness. There is this point of clarity that's potentially coming right now. And I feel like it's coming right now from the most restorative place possible. This is coming in order to ease any sense of conflict that is being experienced. The problem that we're seeing here around these energies is something about that opening, something about that that coming forward is something that feels like it is challenging to partnership. It's something that is creating a sense of grief or regret or uncertainty. It's either creating optics that help you see things in a different way, that you're now having to feel like kind of the full blow or the full breadth of what you're seeing, or it is kind of feeling some sense of disappointment in terms of what you are, like what you see or what is effectively shown to you today. For masculine, this is something that may feel like it is a real setback because it is a blow to your confidence to some degree. But we also see, and we appreciate this, that the masculine that's effectively experiencing this isn't necessarily moving in a space right now. And this is the thing that may be a challenge right now for the masculine that may require some of that solitude. It's that moment of really identifying right now if this is something that you feel can still be productive, or if this is something that you're effectively feeling like you need to move away from because the level of grief or uncertainty is too great. It is challenging the masculine's own confidence today. For feminine, this is potentially recognizing this in the masculine. What did we say was happening right now for feminine energy? We articulated the fact that feminine energy is holding back to a certain degree, to the anxiety point of recognizing if masculine energy is in the space or place with accepting where they are and seeing whether it creates a space or place where the masculine energy has the confidence to stay in that place, or if it's going to send them away. Feminine energy is effectively potentially getting that answer today because they're seeing the fact that potentially what occurs between the masculine and feminine today is basically effectively creating that point to a higher degree right now. This either happened yesterday or potentially is happening today, where masculine energy, they recognize the fact that masculine energy is bearing the weight of where the feminine is at this time. And their feminine is, again, as I said yesterday, observing the masculine energy to see if that level of openness effectively leaves them packing and sends them away, or if the masculine energy still puts that commitment into trying to find a path forward. Hence, helping the feminine energy see the masculine energy at a point of uncertainty, but identifying what they effectively do when their confidence is flagging, when they're feeling that level or degree of uncertainty. Masculine, this is effectively challenging you in this space today. And again, it may be feeling like a moment that you feel like you have to make a choice between these two modalities. Final card for today's spread. It's a bit of a doozy day, guys. It's just going to be a bit of a doozy today. A lot of like, I'm getting here like the record scratch sound, okay? It's like a record scratch between our Wheel of Fortune in its reversal and our Knight of Swords in its reversal. So something that feels like something that causes, especially for the masculine today, I need to stress this. There's something coming through that feels like it's like a moment of freezing for a second. Masculine, this may be something that like really kind of like stops you dead in your tracks to a certain extent today, is what we're really seeing. It's that moment that's like building this degree for the masculine. It's going to be a little bit harder today because this is a moment for the masculine that you may be seeing here that there's something that feels like it is out of alignment and it is shaking your own sense of confidence in terms of going forward today. There's going to be a lot of work that masculine effectively needs to do at this time to try to mitigate and navigate this right now. For feminine, this is effectively feeling some of this record scratch, and the problem for the feminine right now is it potentially is related to masculine energy. It's potentially related to masculine energy in or out of partnership at this moment. For feminine energy right now that is working right now with masculine energy in partnership, there could be something right now that feels like a little bit of a frustration point because there may even be something that you're experiencing right now that is creating a bit of this record scratch for you at this time. But a lot of it is also going to kind of require you to maintain a level of degree of helping the masculine energy through some of this feeling right now. This is creating some of that space right now in partnership. Again, the masculine needing some of that support from the feminine because the masculine may now effectively be feeling uncertain in terms of what to do at this time as well. For feminine, this is a moment that we're seeing that this is like, again, this is potentially some of this challenge being brought on by masculine energy in this modality. If not in partnership, this is going to be very difficult right now because this is feminine energy potentially feeling some level of degree of frustration around a masculine energy not being able to show a level of degree of confidence in things right now. Masculine, This is feminine energy effectively watching a masculine energy in this modality to see where they fall effectively. Masculine, you're also feeling this right now. You are also feeling like you're in this vibration. The problem is there's more uncertainty tied to it around you right now, and that is some of the trying energy. May I please have one card to clarify? Clarification coming through right now with our 8 of Wands in its reversal. This is so retrograde. This is so retrograde, because what are we seeing is occurring here? These are plans getting a little bit mucked up. This is conversations getting blocked. This is uncertainty. This is lack of communication. This is such a retrograde vibe right now. I need to stress though. This is a lot of work right now in order to navigate through some of these blockages and hurdles. I need to point out, and this is the importance of this, right? A blockage or hurdle that can be identified is a blockage and hurdle that can be accounted and adjusted for. What we're really seeing right now is this is a moment of adjustment. There's a moment right now of potentially recognizing or realizing that there's something here that doesn't feel like it is becoming productive. And it is that point and degree of recognizing that lack of productivity that is effectively what is important right now, because it is allowing for the point of observation in terms of how to fix it. So today may be feeling like there's a lot of stumbling blocks here, potentially in the realm of plans, communication, travel, all of these things right now. But again, something that is observed is something that can be corrected. For feminine and masculine energy right now that is in partnership or union, this could be a lot of addressing some of these hurdles today. Maybe even potentially having to address some communication issues, because maybe this could even be talking about something wider that may have happened in terms of someone not communicating in the way that they should have, that potentially led to some of these issues coming into play. For feminine, this is potentially having to have a lot of this work right now. The masculine, this may be even kind of you feeling a little less confidence in this area, but you're still trying to work through it effectively. Even in partnership, there may be a lot of conversations on how to make sure. I'm getting here like, maybe let's have conversations on how not to allow this type of like kerfuffle to happen again kind of thing. While for masculine and feminine energy right now that is not in partnership, what we're really seeing that is potentially happening today is a moment that, again, there's something here that feels like to feminine, this is a bit of that make or break moment. Feminine energy is effectively starting to open up to masculine, recognizing that something about what they're opening up to potentially may lead the masculine energy to move away. Feminine energy is effectively copacetic about that right now. Feminine energy is utilizing that to identify what is coming through as a valuable divine union, something that feels like it could be greater than the sum of its parts, versus those unhealed karmic connections, something that isn't necessarily feeling like it is reciprocal. Feminine energy is effectively watching masculine energy to see if there is that point of productivity. Feminine energy is almost recognizing the fact that this is occurring right now, right? We've been seeing this in the feminine energy. This is that difficulty for feminine that has been creating that sense of stress, because feminine energy is basically holding back to see how it affects the masculine. Masculine, this is effectively allowing yourself, you're kind of reaching that point where you yourself are feeling that pressure. You're trying to identify if there's something productive in terms of moving forward at this time, or if this is creating a space or place that you feel like you need to move away from. And this is also you trying to identify where you effectively fall on that point. Bottom of the deck on this reading today is star energy. This is going to feel a little bit different for feminine and masculine energy today, bearing in mind that this is not based on gender, but what you feel most aligned to. Specifically because this is hard today, because we're seeing that both masculine and feminine energy are working in a sense of their detriment, right? Feminine energy right now is feeling a lot of anxiety and frustration around being their most authentic expression of self. We're identifying and recognizing to a certain extent here that feminine energy may be feeling very triggered today. They may be feeling very triggered because we're almost seeing that there's something, again, it's almost like we're almost seeing a state or place where masculine has been trying to get the feminine energy to open up. We're seeing some of that opening occurring. What's happening in the sense of that opening occurring? masculine energy is showing some sense of trepidation. The caution point that we're potentially seeing, or simultaneously for the masculine and feminine energy that is in partnership, there was potentially even some moments yesterday where masculine wanted to take one approach to something, feminine wanted to take a very different approach to something. And now there's something about potentially having to navigate the space that has occurred in between. Feminine energy is also a feeling like they've been putting in a difficult space right now where they can't be their most authentic expression of self by the masculine energy, even in partnership at this moment, that could be somewhat difficult and trying. Because what we're really identifying right now is this is a hurdle for feminine, because feminine is now trying to be open, but feminine is feeling like doing that is on me every time this is effectively occurring to a certain extent. Something like that happens. There's this record scratch. So for feminine right now, being able to continue to maintain this state of feeling like you can be your authentic expression of self today could be feeling very challenging. For masculine, this could be feeling this on the part of the feminine, that you may potentially be feeling the fact that something about your own reactivity level right now, or the way you're reacting to something, is further closing you off, the feminine energy off from you. And that is something that, again, outside of partnership is going to feel is very, very difficult. And even inside of partnership today, this could even have to do with some of that feeling of isolation that we're effectively seeing even in the partnerships right now, that potentially requires a little bit of solitude, because there may even be something right now that, like, the way something was effectively moved through is creating something that feels like it's more of a larger issue. That is the Daily Collective read for today. I want to thank you guys so much for being here and experiencing it. Just a reminder, if you would like to book a private reading with me, you can book one on my website, graystrega.com. My private readings are done over video with the option of a recording sent to you afterwards. And if you are a subscriber to my TikTok, you can take 10% off any of my services when you pay. Just mention your subscriber ID at the point of payment. Please keep in mind, if you book a private reading with me, it is a two-step process. You have to book the reading and you have to pay for the reading. Please make sure you do both if you'd like to have that reading. Most importantly, I would like to remind you that I will never, ever, 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 ever reach out to you for a private reading. I will never inbox you. I will never PM you. I will never slide into your DMs and tell you that I have a very important message that only I can deliver. The only way that you can book a reading with me is if you book one on my website. So I encourage you to do it there. I want to thank you guys so much for being here with me today and sharing with me in this reading. And we will do this again tomorrow.